morning for you. A late night over here.
Or good night, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's too late for coffee for me.
Yeah, I know it's early here, so
Oh, I love the posters, boy. I love that. I've got that Venom poster as well. It's one of my favorites,
yes.
that one.
Oh yeah, dude, this is my sanctuary in here. It's my so-called metal room. I got here nothing but vinyl over here and just old
Wonderful.
old stuff, like old tour posters and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm working on that. My back wall is unfortunately you can probably you can see, but everything else is there. But the back
Yeah,
wall work is blank. I'm just going to work on the back wall because it's where the stereo, it's where my video gets photographed from, and unfortunately it looks really shit. So I'm trying to work on it.
it's all good.
Well, thanks. Look, thanks for coming on and having a chat, Hansi. It's
Oh,
real nice to put a name to the face, a face to the name. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
Um, we because I reviewed we chatted before. I've reviewed the album before, like the Blackened Skies, Open Graves by your brilliant band, Buried Faith.
Well, thank you
Um,
very much.
yeah. It's really brilliant album. As I said before, I thought it was an absolute cracker of an album. For you out of the gates there, it's a real strong start, my friend.
Well, thank you. Yeah, yeah. We worked hard on this record, and this is definitely took a while to get this all together, but yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. Can't complain.
No. So, I mean, how you've obviously been around, you've been playing in many bands. I mean, this isn't your first rodeo, right? Like,
Right. Yeah, I've been playing in a few bands. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, you originally from Germany, correct?
Yes, I'm originally from Germany. I moved. I was, part of the whole '80s metal scene over there, the whole club scene, and whatnot. And I moved here to the States in '91, so many moons ago.
Mm.
And I've been back, back and forth. I lived there again for a year, came back, and so on. It's like I love Germany, but it's a little bit easier here in the States for me to just function. It's hard over in Germany when you've been gone for as long as I've been. Basically getting a job over there is almost impossible.
Mm.
It's like it's really hard because you've been out of the workforce there for so long that you have to go to school, like to a reform school and all this baloney I had to do. I was sitting there with refugees in the same class learning.
Ah,
Yeah, yeah, it
wow,
was pretty hard.
wow.
Yeah, so I came back but I go back periodically and, now for vacation and music, like for shows
Mm.
and I love it. It's great to go back home for a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, but you come from that a brilliant scene. That scene in the early '90s, over in Germany is just was like barnstorming, wasn't it? If you think about the kind of acts that were coming through then.
Yeah, I mean the early '90s. I can't really, I can't say nothing about. I left
Oh, sorry,
August.
late '80s. I meant late '80s is what I meant.
It's '91 is when I left.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but yeah, I mean, considering the early '80s, starting it
Mm.
up. I mean, I remember buying the first Iron Maiden record on vinyl. When I was
Mm.
12. You know,
Yeah, very similar.
yeah, looking at the cover at the record store and just going, "This is gonna be good. I'm buying this." I didn't know who they were.
Yeah, yeah.
And then yeah,
I
and
love
then
that
like
though.
yeah, that was great. You hardly that doesn't happen really anymore. Now you're so pampered with all the you can listen to everything before you even consider getting something. And it kind of took a little bit of the mystique away from finding something that you didn't know was going to be great, and then you listen to it, or you either liked it or you didn't. And I remember seeing Iron Maiden that same year opening for Kiss in Cologne,
Oh,
Germany.
yes.
And they were so good. I mean, it was I just remember that show so vividly, seeing them with Paul Yano on the vocals, one of my
Oh,
favorite singers, and it was great, and also then, like the early, all the start with the new wave of British heavy metal, I mean, I think that what changed it all for us, or for me, or for any of my friends over there, was 1983, the Rock Pop in concert in Dortmund. Westfalen had a 2-day event with Michael Schenker Group,
oh,
Crocus, Quiet Riot, um, Scorpions, Def Leppard, Judas Priest, Ozzy Osbourne, and Iron Maiden. And this
what
was
a
1980,
lineup!
just December, like the first week of December of 83. So everybody was out with their, absolute top of the bill records at the time,
Wow.
and this is where we all kind of like met up, like from all over in that area. And this is how we kind of got together as a group of, hey, we metalheads, we're gonna start our own thing now. And so all the clubs starting, to happen, like the heavy metal fan clubs and
Yeah.
all that,
Tape
so yeah.
sharing, all that stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, a tape share. Oh my God. Yeah, I used to tape trade with Chuck from Death, and the
Oh,
guys from
wow.
Exodus. Yeah, I known Chuck. I actually, on their last tour in '98, I was in Portland, Oregon, when Hammerfall opened for them on that tour. And
Yes.
I still got pictures of that. Me and Chuck hanging out at the bar and having a good
Oh,
old time. Yeah, it was great,
musical
and
genius, Chuck. Musical genius.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely,
Mm.
absolutely. That's not a Death album that I don't like, with Chuck being part of it. I mean, honestly, and it being symbolic, definitely one of them that is absolutely mind blowing. I mean, just
Yeah.
technically, you know, yeah. So it was a great time. I mean, obviously, we have a lot of new kids now on the scene. They dress like us. They wear the same clothes, down to the shoes, man. Like they buy the
Yes.
original
Yeah.
80s shoes.
Yeah.
You know,
The high
in the
tops.
beginning, I was a little pissed about it. It's
Yeah.
like, the hell, don't you have your own identity? And then I'm kind of feeling flattered, as in, going, hey, we did something right. If this new generation now wants to be us, so that's cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think they, why they do though, Hansi, is like you and I, you just explained it so very eloquently there. I couldn't put it any better, right? We come from a time when, I come from a very poor family. We had no money, man. If I bought a record, like I had to really, I just took those few pennies in my hand. I went to the shop and was like, that cover. I remember picking up, I think it was, no, it was Power Slave, because I knew them, but I was like, I don't know how good this album's gonna be, and I had like my
Yeah.
only penny, and I just hand the money over. You take it home, put it on, and you just go,
Yeah.
mind blown, right? Um,
Yeah.
but you said that these days, I think some of them want that mystique, Hansi. I think they want a bit of it that we had, but
Yeah.
it's very difficult to get that back because that was special.
Uh, you're not wrong. I have talked to people of that generation, and they have actually told me that. They said, you have no idea how lucky you were to live, to be part of that whole movement. And I'm going, I feel like, man, I'm old. It's like, yeah, it's like I'm to the, I want to be young again. Then I'm going like, no, I don't. I really
Nah,
don't.
not now.
You know,
No, no,
There
no.
was great times, but there was also some really crappy times. And like you, I grew up very poor as well. And I grew up with my grandparents, World War II, and they were like,
Mm.
dude, every penny was turned over 3 times before you got something,
Oh yes.
and we lived in a very poor neighborhood with no doors and windows, man. It was freaking like ghetto.
Yeah,
So now I
I hear you.
appreciate all those things I have in life, and sometimes you have to put yourself in perspective and go, when you complain about life, you go like, shut up, you got nothing to bitch about.
Nothing to be.
Right? You live a pretty good life, you don't need to bitch about things. It's like, put yourself back in the shoes when you were growing up, when you had
Oh
nothing.
mate. Nothing,
Yeah.
mate. I remember not having any food for dinner, things like that, like
Yeah.
pay and things people. I mean, I don't want to make this into a moan fest, but it's true. I
Right.
think creative people like yourself, I think these are the things that form them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think
No.
people, I think not having a go at people with pampered lives, because I'm sure they're still artistic, but there's something fundamental in your DNA,
Yeah.
coming from a war-torn, like I said, like not that far away from the war to,
Yes.
to really hop, skip, and a jump, and then having to live through those times, it helps you with creativeness, I think.
Yes. Yes. I remember telling my kids, when they were younger, I'd be like, what do you worry about the winter? I said, when I grew up, I was that guy that was like, I had no shoes. There were holes in them. And you know what? They laugh at me. And I'm like, I'm serious. I'm not even lying.
No.
I had one pair of shoes that I wore probably 6, 7 years of my life. And they
Yep.
were too small after a point, but we had no money to buy shoes.
Yeah.
It's like my kids were always like, yeah, sure,
Yeah,
tell us.
exactly right. They don't understand. I tell them mine is exactly the same. But that's why when I listen to the albums like this album, right, is it what's special about it is that it keeps me in that point of my life, Hansi. I mean, I know that as we get older, we look back over our shoulder and go, the past, right. But there is a point where there's a sweet point, a sweet part of your life where 18/19, maybe 20, whenever, whatever your year is, where you are your happiest in your youth. And you want to keep that point. And sometimes that's the why albums for me like this, I put them on, I'm 16 again, right?
Yeah, yeah,
I, and I can't tell you how much that means to me because life is finite, right? We're not going to be here forever, but
yes.
we have to love the moment that we loved. And I grabbed, I'm sure you, that's there. See, I've got it here. All right. Yes, fucking great album. And do you know what? Since you sent it to me, it hasn't left my music room. So I must
Well,
have played it. I think it's probably thin.
I appreciate that.
But you know what I mean? And so when I go back to those times when, yeah, we had no money and we were poor, but music was a thing that kept me sane.
Yes,
It still does. It's the barrier around me, like a force field. Yeah. You can't hurt me when I've got this around me. And I feel that you're very similar, kind of, it was a way of being part of a group of people and a meaning and a direction when you didn't have any direction.
exactly, exactly. And I will always appreciate that. Is metal. When I talk to certain people, even back home that I knew since high school, and um, they have changed. They used to be into metal. They're now they still listen to rock. But they're not really anymore. To me, metal is a lifestyle. It's like
Yeah.
it's something that you were born into, if you will. I mean, I started really early, and so it's never changed, to my life. Even in the early 90s, I remember coming here to the States in 91, and you remember what happened in 91, this
Hmm.
91, MTV all of a sudden starts showing all the grunge, and
Oh.
only one running around with a leather jacket with patches on him and Slayer shirt, and tattoos, and everybody was like, Pearl Jam and Nirvana and all that. Yeah,
Yeah.
and does it have his moments? Sure. I
Mm.
mean, if you like it, you like it. I'm not here to tell people what to like and what not.
Mm.
But to me, it was absolutely horrendous, man. I thought this is it. Life has ended. Normal metal. But I was like, you know what? Now we finally back to the beginning where it was underground, where it was
I love it. The underground.
people, well,
Yes.
you know what I mean? It was because all really, with all what happened with with the MTV, the hair metal and all that, it
Mm.
got so commercialized that everybody was listening to it, and everybody in school that years ago would have kicked my ass for having long hair and wearing a Kiss shirt was all of a sudden listening to Rat and
Oh
and
God,
and Poison,
Poison. Yeah.
yeah, and oh, I'm a metalhead, I love metal, and I'm like, oh, what about the new Hellow's Eve? And they're like, who? And
Yeah. Yeah.
so that makes the difference between a true, I hate that word, a true metalhead.
Yes.
It's, but it makes a difference,
Yeah.
between who you really are, and this has never changed. I
No.
always been like this, and I never will change. To me, metal is life, and I appreciate you saying that about our record. That's kind of like what we wanted with this record is go back a little bit. We wanted to keep we wanted to be modern in some kind of way
Yes.
with production, but we didn't want to go into a modern trash kind of, what a lot of bands doing, and that's fine, but we will, when you hear our very first demo, it was very rough, very old school, very creator Sodom, like, really crappy
Mm.
recording, whatnot, and we were lucky enough to find a really good studio and record this, and the results. Man, I listened to that record, and every time I listen to it, I go, really? I recorded this? This is
God,
crazy. This is,
isn't that wonderful? Isn't that wonderful, Hansi, though, that you have that posterity forever, right?
yeah,
Ever and
I know.
ever.
Finally on vinyl, it's like I always
Yes.
wanted
It's like,
my stuff on vinyl, It's like I've been in so many bands and we've done CDs and demo tapes, but vinyl was always kind of out of reach, and so finally we released it also on vinyl, and we've been doing pretty good. I mean, I don't know if we got a couple of really good reviews in some European magazines with the record. There was one of them that was okay. They didn't like my voice so much, and then there was,
jog
well,
on.
I'm gonna call them out. I don't care. It's Metal Hammer magazine.
I know
So
them, and I used to buy them all the time.
yeah, me too. But they're to me like the teen beat of metal magazines now.
They didn't used
They're
to
like,
be, sadly. They
yeah,
didn't used to be.
you know, yeah,
Yeah.
they're called my voice powerless in parts, and everybody that read it, even like friends of mine, they're
Yeah.
like in bigger bands, from Germany, they're
Yeah.
I known all my life, they were like, are they deaf or something? It's like
Yeah.
that's nothing, but it's everything but not powerless, and
I'm going to say one thing. I don't think they listened to it.
yeah, probably not. Well,
Yeah.
it's not a big deal. We got really good review from Rock Hard magazine, and Legacy gave us a great review, and Deaf Forever.
Yeah.
Um,
Does Kerrang still go? I don't know if Kerrang still is a
I
thing
don't know.
anymore.
I don't know. I have actually, I written to quite a few magazines about the record, and there was not a lot of, like, for instance, Metal Hammer or Rock Hard never got back to me and even confirmed that they were going to do something. I sent them the link to,
Oh,
and I was, hey, can you review this maybe? And I never heard back from them. I was in Germany on vacation, and a friend of mine at a metal bar came up to me and he was, hey, man, have you seen the review in the Rock Hard magazine of your record? And I'm like, huh, what?
oh
And
my
he's, yeah.
God. There you go.
So I went and bought it, and
Yeah.
so yeah, that's the only way I found out. But
It's crazy, isn't it? But again, I think that you really again hit the nail on the head there, with the underground scene coming back. I will always, from now on, I have now for quite a long time, I look for the underground bands. I
yeah,
seek out I genuinely seek out them because that's where the passion, that's where the commitment is, that's where the innovation is happening. I don't think, don't get me wrong, I love Iron Maiden. I'll be an Iron Maiden man till I die. I've got a tattoo of Eddie on my back. I'm not going anywhere, right? They are I had a good old sit down with Paul Diano once and chat over a beer.
great guy. I love Paul.
Whoa, what a guy,
Such
man.
a such a nice lad he was, man. I had the luck to meet him a few times and talk to him
Mm.
throughout the years. And great guy. I had a pint with him before, and
Yep.
it was It wasn't shocking when he passed, but I was heartbroken, man.
Oh yeah, that and Ozzy, the two people,
Oh my
it's really hit me. Like Ozzy really hit me. I couldn't even.
Ozzy is the worst. I'm still not over Ozzy yet.
No.
I knew it was coming, but I feel like a part of childhood has died.
Yes, thank you, Hansi. That's exactly. It's like the one
like,
person who's been with you forever is suddenly
yeah,
gone.
yeah. And Ozzy, to me, Ozzy was always someone that couldn't do anything wrong.
No.
You know what I mean? Regardless what he did or that TV show, whatever, in the beginning I was bitching about it. I was like, come on, man. And then I started enjoying it. And I was like, this guy is hilarious,
Yeah. Oh,
And
brilliant.
one guy I never met, man, sadly.
No,
And
sadly, yeah, same here. Yeah. Seen him loads of times with Sabbath and solo.
yeah.
I still say No Rest for the Wicked is one of my favorite albums. And
Yeah, I love that record. I got to go with The Ultimate Sin as my favorite record of Ozzy's, man.
I have to say thank you because I'm borderline on that one.
Yeah.
It's funny because I've mentioned it on my show. People gave me some real shit for it, man. When I said The Ultimate Sin was possibly my second, they were like, "What are you talking about?" They really couldn't understand why I would like something that isn't Diary of a Madman or isn't,
no.
I
mean, those they're super records. It's always going to be a toss-up between Diary and The Ultimate Sin for me. But The Ultimate Sin has just so much more. There's not a song on that record that is bad. Plus I remember that tour really well. They played in Germany with Accept was opening on that tour.
Oh, what a great band.
Yeah, and I remember, seeing them like 2 or 3 times on that tour in Germany, in different venues. And it just means a lot to me, this record, like when I was a young man, so.
Yeah, and that's what it is. They always grab you. I think like great albums like this, there'll be someone in their hands. I guarantee you, there'll be some teenager out there who picks up this album. I'm going to show it again. Picks up this album, right? Your brilliant album, Blackened Skies, Open Graves, and will, and in a few years' time, they will go. That means so much because that's the album that got me into this music. I found it on Spotify or whoever.
Yeah.
It just grabs you, and it's the most visceral, beautiful thing. It's like smell. We can all remember when we first heard that particular song. Like the first album I ever bought was the Who, by Numbers.
Wow, great record.
Look, my brother took me to the record shop. He said, "Here's £5, buy a record." I had no idea. I just remember liking my brother's Who tapes. Picked it out of the rack, took it home, and to this day, it's still my favorite Who album.
That's a great record.
Yeah,
it's a great record. My first record I bought was Status Quo.
Oh,
I'm a huge Quo fan, man. Always going to be a huge Status Quo fan, man.
Oh, I got to see them live. They're brilliant live. You seen them live?
Yeah, I've seen them like 4 or 5 times back in the early '80s, and great live band, absolute powerhouse. And I mean, I always considered them, kind of like in the hard rock metal, even so boogie rock and roll, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But they were always, to me, especially live, a lot heavier,
Oh God, yeah. I saw them with Deep Purple. I saw them with Deep Purple as a double header. Amazing.
Wow.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah.
But I little side note. I dated for about 3 weeks the original drummer's daughter, is it a niece? Might be his niece. I remember because because we went to go and see them. I got free tickets to go and see them at the Albert Hall. It was an experience.
It's awesome, man.
Yeah. I don't know how that happened. We just met. It was just a weird old coincidence.
Things happen like that,
Yeah, way back in the past. Yeah. Oh dear. So, are you touring? Are you touring this album's around?
So we are not touring on this record. The thing is, we all working, man.
Of course.
My guitar player Aaron, who actually wrote all the music on this record, Aaron Crandell. He is a professional that can't really travel for a long time.
Mm.
He does works from home, but he deals with he's a computer IT kind of guy, and
Ah, yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah. So he we want to we have shows. Obviously, we play shows here locally, and
Mm.
we headline, we open. It doesn't matter what we do. We want to do some here in the States. We want to play some festivals in Europe for sure.
Oh man,
Um,
brilliant. Yeah.
no, we and I've been talking to some people about it, and um, right now it's just really hard. We haven't had a lot of luck. We've been shopping for a label, and
I was gonna come to that. Yes,
yeah,
yes.
it's been tough, man. It's like maybe it's not because we're not the youngest
Mm.
people. I don't know. We're not a young band, so um, you know, I've been trying to shop for a label, and I've been talking to a few people, but it's nothing that I would want to sign something with. It's um. I'm not into it for the money, obviously. Otherwise, I wouldn't be in this profession.
Yes,
Uh,
exactly, exactly.
so I know friends always tell me, it's like, so what do you do now for a living? You still work? And I'm like, no, I retired on this record. I said, we've been selling so many records, I don't even have to work anymore. They're like, really? I'm like,
Can't,
no.
can't you see my Jag, my Rolls Royce, my?
Right? Yeah, it's sadly, that's not how it works
No, sadly,
anymore.
it's not. No.
I think it was probably easier to get signed back in the 80s with a big label than it is now, because
Yeah,
there's so many people, just so many bands out there, you know.
yeah, but they're also taking risks back then. There's some bands back then that you look and you go, they would never get signed now, but they were taking risks because there was no internet crap to worry about that. So they take
Yeah.
risks. And we just don't. A&R men used to take risks. They don't do that anymore, right? They
No.
just won't do it. There's too much sensitivity around the dollars they're going to spend.
Yes, and that's just the thing. It's like, I have some connections,
Mm,
obviously. I'm trying to, of course, work a little bit with that. But even there, it's like, yeah, it's great, great record. We'll get back to you, and then there's
mm.
basically nothing coming. So I'm not, this is not something that is gonna, we're working on the second record already, what is gonna absolutely
Oh, wow.
you, man. This is going to be uh, if you like this record, this next one is going to be mind blowing. It's heavier, if that's even possible, and
Mm.
um, more thrashy. It's more this record. If you kind of like listen to the lyrics and look at the songs, they're a little bit, and some of the magazines are talking about that. They're a little bit all over the place, as in subject matter, as in
Mm.
from passive aggression, what is like kind of a riot song, to Blackened Skies, Open Graves, what is kind of, evil,
Mm.
whatever you call it. So there's like, songs like All This Blood,
Oh,
what
one of my
is
favorites.
yeah, basically about killing somebody while you all messed up in the head, and then wake up the next day and don't remember nothing about it.
Yeah.
So there's all different kind of subject matters. This next record is going to be a little bit more cohesive, as in subject matter, and also we got a few songs that we're brewing right now already. We're gonna probably play them
Wow.
live soon. And yeah, and you got to remember, you're aware we've been going to a lineup change like no tomorrow.
Yes. Yes.
It's been a ride, man. We've been to 9 drummers in a year.
Are you Spinal Tap now or something? What's going?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it sometimes. We just have a drummer, that has worked with us for a little bit, and it seems like it's going pretty good. And then all of a sudden they're like, yeah, I can't play this. This is too fast. And they're being honest about it. So, I appreciate that.
Oh, well, that is true. That's good. Yeah, yeah,
It's not
yeah.
find a drummer that can play double bass, man, and keep up nowadays, and especially one in our, you got to remember, we in Boise, Idaho, this is a small scene,
Mm.
you know, everybody is already in 50 other bands,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like we had to borrow people from other bands, to play a live show. So we were really lucky to find Donnie Martinez
Mm.
on the drums, who is an absolute monster, and he's amazing, and he's now he recorded this record with us actually in the studio. Everything you hear on this album, he played actually on this record, and he is full member now. We got a new bass player, Jason Emery, great guy, just in the pocket. More of a punk rocker, he's from the Misfits, kind of old
Oh, I
school.
love it. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but he loves metal as well,
Mm.
but he's originally more of a punk rocker. And then we just got we got a second guitar player now. We added Matt Hopkins, who is here well known in the scene, played in a thrash band years ago called Mortal Enemy.
Yes.
And great guy, super good guitar player. And him and Aaron are actually in another band together. So, yeah, so they work with each other really well and feed off
Yeah.
each other. So, we definitely life-wise, have now a powerhouse on stage, and that will reflect also on the new recordings as well,
Wow, because if you can top this album, Hansi, like I said, I said in the review, it's like a rain of notes. There are points in this album where you feel saturated in the
Yeah.
intensity of the music. It almost feel like you have to get a towel and dry yourself off after listening to this album at some point. Right?
Yeah.
It's so
Thank you. Yeah.
so immense.
Yeah,
That
it's going to hit you in the face for sure,
Yeah, it does.
and
And I don't mind the fact that it moves around the place. To be honest, I
yeah,
actually like that as a listener myself, just as I quite like the nothing you can't tell what's going to come next. What
sure.
happens round in the corner. I quite like that actually.
It has its beauty for sure.
Mm,
Like I said, the songs they come as they come anyway. You got to
yeah,
remember, I work with a genius here. Aaron has these songs basically written. He comes
crazy
up,
good, eh? Oh wow.
they're done. Drums, guitars, bass. Other than the vocals and the lyrics, he's coming with a song and says, "Hey, I've been working on this. What do you think?" He plays this to us, and
Wow.
everybody has their own flair to it. Of course, I write the lyrics to it.
Yeah.
He comes up with an idea. I come up with an idea. I write the lyrics. I put them onto the song, and then boom, we got a song going, and so far so good,
Well,
We
keep doing it because it's working, Andy. It's working. Like it's
thank
uh,
you, thank you.
uh, what also I was going to say is the production is really good on this album as well. Like, for an underground band, the production on this album, I keep saying, I'm going to show it again. The production on this album feels straddles old school,
Yeah,
but feels modern. Like you said before, it doesn't feel cheap.
yeah.
Some underground records, which is what you want. You want that kind of cavernous, cheap feel on the cassette or something. But this has a real big studio sound almost to it.
Yes. Yes. So the guy we recorded with, Mr. Johnson, he's a great guy, super good studio. I known him, but not very well. But again, Aaron knows him pretty well, and he's the one that pushed for that studio. And um, I'm usually going to like this analog kind of, like cheap, let's get it done kind of thing. And he was like, no, that's not what we're gonna do. I want this to. I remember recording a record, a CD with another band I was in, and I went to the studio and they said, so what do you want this to sound like? I said, I want this to sound like Iron Maiden, Number of the Beast. And he said, you have $50,000? And I said, no. And he goes, that's not gonna sound like it.
Yeah. Very, very true.
Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah. So, and with this one, we laid down the funds, but also the guy that recorded it, like I said, he's an absolute professional. He has recorded with people that worked with Metallica and Exodus,
Wow.
So, and he actually played us an Exodus record, one of the newer ones. I can't remember which one it was. And he was like, so when you listen to your record and then this Exodus record next to it, this is what I want it to sound like. But I'm not going to take away the old school. And I was like, great. So when I heard the final results, I was like, wow, this guy is amazing, and so we're definitely going to stick with him.
I would.
Yeah, we're going to record our next record with him as well. He's just really, busy, and yeah, we're going to have to book this, way ahead of time, but he's a great guy. And we had a great time recording it. Just remember, Aaron recorded all of this in the studio. He recorded both guitars and the bass for this record.
Wow.
So that was played in was the drums live, and then me with the vocals. Everything else Aaron put down on this record. So
wow,
very fortunate to have a guy like this in the band. And dude, how I found him is almost uncanny, man. It's like the guy's been in the scene as long as I have been. I never met him before because I'm more in a kind of like heavier, kind of was in that rough death metal, whatever scene or whatever you want to call it, or and he was with a different group of friends, if you will, in a different scene. They were more not so heavy, and I had no idea. And he was like, I always want to play thrash, and he's an old school thrasher. He, listens to all the stuff that I listen to, and we finally found each other after all these years, And the best thing is the whole, not just me and him, but a whole band, man. We click together really well. We actually, after every band practice, we go to a German bar / eatery, and where we have some beers together and eat some food and hang out with our girlfriends and wives together and just bullshit,
fantastic.
Man. Yeah, so that's it is kind of a a unique relationship. What I think is always really important, especially when band is kind of like family, so it's important that you like each other, because I played in way too many bands where I wanted to punch people in the throat.
Yeah, same here. Yeah.
So you know what I'm talking about there,
yeah? Yes, indeed. Or they don't turn up, or you make the effort and they just decide that morning they're not going to play anymore, and you're like, well, what happens now? Hang on, we've just committed all this stuff, and you're going, you don't want to turn up. What?
Yeah, or let's get shit faced before a headlining show. It's like I can't wait until after the show. Let me get absolutely slashed, and then not be able to really perform to my abilities. That always kind of got me a little bit too. I don't mind, having a good time, and I'm the last one that's going to put away a beer and say no. But I make sure that I be able to perform, and then after whatever happens afterwards is
exactly. I've never understood how people could be like, I've got friends of mine many years ago who played high as a kite, and I've never knew how they can do it. I don't know how your brain is in a different suburb. How are you doing this?
I couldn't anymore. I mean, back in the day when I was younger, sure. And so was the performance as well. It was not good.
Of course.
Of course. But now, I just can't do it. But if I would, if we have a show and we play at 10 o'clock at night, I got to be there at 4:30 to sound check and set up. If I'm start getting slashed at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, by the time I'm on stage 5 hours later, I'm far beyond driven.
Yeah, you couldn't stand upright. It's right.
Yeah, I couldn't do it. I'd be like, here, play instrumental, have fun.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I'm going to sit at the side of the stage and smoke. No, but I listened, like when I listened to the production on the album, because as we go back to it, I always think that the production is that missing member of the band never gets mentioned, right? And you listen to it and the separation, because I put the vinyl, I listen to the streaming as you can when you're on the move. And you put the vinyl on, and the separation is so good. Like the drums, the cymbals. I always loved being a bass player. I listened to the drums a lot, right? And so you
Of
hear
course.
the cymbal work is so it cuts through. It's like just slices through that sound. It's so crisp, particularly on things like the title track. Just the drumming on that. I don't know. He's a good drummer, so keep hold of
Yeah.
him, right?
Yes. I'm planning on it. We've been really nice to him.
Yeah, you'd be nice to chain him up in the cupboard if you have to. Like,
Well, drummers are like unicorns, man. You know, they're almost impossible to find. You know, someone that's not like in 17 bands already. You know, he's only in this one band, and that's all he wants to do. He loves
oh,
this. You know, so I'm very fortunate. You know, and that I found him. You know, I mean, I known him from before. He played in a few other bands here in the scene, you know, that I'm very well aware of and
mm,
friends with, you know, but he was kind of gone for a while. Well, he owns a tile business. He's actually
uh,
he, yeah, so
yeah.
he's, you know, a professional as well. And, you know, so when he then kind of called out, hey, I wouldn't mind trying out, I was like, hey, I heard this name before. This should be interesting, you know, and so when he came in, man, the 2 or 3 songs we gave him, he came prepared and he just banged them out and, you know, double bass and just absolutely
Oh,
put his own little swing to it, you know, and we just kind of looked at each other and we're like, we can either keep, you know, doing this with the machine,
yeah, of course. Yeah,
you know, but it's okay because the machine is always there, never
yeah, yeah.
late.
That's right. That's right. That's right. It doesn't have
Uh,
tiffs with its wife. And then,
exactly, exactly. Plus, you know, the machine is always perfect.
yes,
There's
yes.
there's no rhythms change or anything, you know. But it gets, you know, we can't do that live. I
No.
mean, we could, but that would be kind of, you know, I don't know.
Yeah.
So yeah, we had a talk with him, you know, and he was like, "Oh, I love what's going on. This is right up my alley." And you know, and that's the thing, man. I've been looking. I've lived here in this area for over 20 years, and I've been looking for people to play this type of music, and I could never find anybody. I ended up singing in punk bands, and you
Yeah.
know, I'm still, well, Filth Hound is really kind of dead right now, but it's not broken up. But I played in Filth Hound, and we opened for Raven, Anvil. We played
Oh,
with a bunch of big bands, you know, and great band, you know. Just kind of like if you like old Motorhead meets first couple Iron Maiden albums meet
yeah.
Tank, and
Yeah,
you
I love
like Phil
Tank.
Hound,
Filth
man.
Hounds from Hell,
Tank
man.
is one of my
Filth Hounds
favorite
from
bands
Hell is a
of all
brilliant
time.
album.
Oh yeah, all of the Tank albums, you know, with some of the originals, absolutely. Um, but it's just, you know, and also, you know, you have to pick your poison. You know, I don't
Mm,
have time to sing in 3 bands,
no.
you know, with being, you know, a grandpa and
I'm to
all
be
that
a
stuff.
grandfather soon myself, very soon, November.
16 grandchildren I have.
Get stuffed.
Six
Wow.
grandchildren. Yes, I know.
Congratulations, my friend. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Thank
How
you.
this is my first. Well done. Yes, it's
Yeah.
my first. I'm so pumped.
Yeah, it's great, you know, especially when you give them, you can give them back to the parents, you know.
Exactly right.
It's
You,
awesome.
you you can you love them and give them back. It's lovely.
Sugar them up, give them
Yeah,
back. Exactly.
yeah. But the drummer that you've got, he has got that real Clive Burr swing to him as well. You know, that's what you were saying. The swing, I can hear that there. There was that little
Yeah, he
bit of
comes up,
syncopacity. You know.
yeah, he comes up with some weird shit that I'm first going. I'm going like, what is he doing? And then some more, I listen to it, or we listen to it, and go, dude, this is great. Whatever you've been doing there, doing rehearsals, you know,
Yeah.
whatever you've been doing there, keep that, man. This is absolutely amazing, you know, and it reflects live as well. We played, you know, with this brand new lineup now, 2 shows,
Mm.
with this last one being a headlining show, and it was, I
Wow.
mean,
Nice.
good, man. That was good. You know, we were actually supposedly had this recorded from the soundboard, but for some reason something went wrong, and
Oh
there was
no.
no, yeah, there was no data on this on this card.
Oh,
So we lost that whole.
fuck.
We play a show. This is gonna be probably the last show for the year. We're gonna play a big show at the Knitting Factory on September 14th. Opening for Hemlock. They've
Oh,
been
yeah.
around. Hemlock has been around for a long time, 20
Yeah.
plus years. They're an international touring band,
Yep.
and so we're gonna open for them. And this is a huge 800, 900 capacity venue. So
Brilliant.
and I've played there before. It's great. The sound is amazing, and so we're gonna come out swinging on this one. Better everybody buckle the hell up, man. They're gonna cry afterwards, man.
Yeah,
But
yeah. I hope their necks have got. I hope they've got insurance on their chiropractor.
I hope so, man. We're gonna come out swinging, for sure. But yeah, that's like I said, been really fortunate with Donnie on the drums, and believe me,
Brilliant.
there's a lot of people, they have hit him up and say, "Hey, man, you have time to be in another band?" And he's like, "Nope,
Yeah.
I'm only
Good.
doing this." Yeah.
Focus.
Yes, and
Focus.
that's the thing when you're in so many different bands, and we had members in the band that were in like 3 other bands. There's just always that, and I understand that when I ask these people to play for me, they sometimes do it out of respect, and say, "Oh, Hansi is a, old school, cool guy in the scene, blah, blah, blah. I want to play in his band." But then when I sit down and say, "Hey, let's make this, this is one of my main priorities. Let's make it one of yours too." So there's dedication. And then when they tell me I can't give you that, because I have another project, it's my project that I'm doing on, that's my band I started, then I get that and I respect that, and I give them still the option to be in my band as long as they're reliable and they show up and they're put on 100%, 110% effort in there. No problem. But if they can't do that, they usually weed out on their own,
Yeah. Eventually. Yeah.
where they're like, "Oh, I can't make it to practice today. I got this going on and this going on." And I'm like, "Okay, well, this is not important to you, So
Yeah.
but
Oh,
yeah,
mate.
we got right now what I consider the perfect lineup. This is a great band we got together, and it took a long time, man.
Yeah.
There was times it was just me and Aaron left. That was it.
Yeah, but I'm glad you held in, man, because you
Oh
made
yeah,
this great album, and I'm
yes,
really keen to hear the next one to see where you go. And it's just wonderful. Like we said back earlier in the interview, how for the 90s that you and I both lived through that point where there was nothing,
yeah,
nothing. It felt like heavy metal had died. Even
yeah,
Iron Maiden were making relatively poor albums. It was like, what's going on? But now it feels like it's coming out from the woodwork. It's everywhere, and
yeah.
it's just so wonderful we're
It
back
is.
there.
You're right. There's so many young new bands, and one of them, I have to give a shout out to is a Fabulous Disaster from Germany. They're
Okay.
from my hometown in Bonn, Germany, man.
Yeah.
What doesn't have a lot of bands. It was back in the day. It was Cuddy Sark, but probably everybody knows Cuddy Sark.
Yes.
So Die Tonight, and all that.
Yeah.
Great band, good friends. There was Trans Am from Germany. There were
Oh
Vam,
God.
Vam,
Yes.
and that was bands from Bonn, Germany. And there was, of course, the one and only Sava Drexler that sang for SDS 8 Mission, and then later on for Gun Barrel from
Yeah.
Cologne, and a super, super singer, an old friend of mine. Went to high school together, to grade school together. I remember us in the basement of his mom's house, me with a tennis racket, with aluminum foil around it, making it look like a guitar, and
Oh,
he's
I've done
belting
that.
out,
I've done that.
yeah,
I've done
yeah, and he's belting out Scorpion songs, and it turned out to be one of, in my opinion, Germany's most underrated singers of all time. He actually was offered to sing for Halloween before Michael Kiske came.
Wow.
And he turned it down because his band SD88 Mission was doing so good at the time. They toured Japan and all that, and they were
Wow.
supposed to be huge, and that just didn't happen. But So Fabulous Disaster from
Right. I'm writing that down.
Bonn, Germany. Great band, young kids, they're in their mid-20s, I want to say. Good friends. We actually been, there's friends says, hey, you guys should play with them. And I'm like, yeah, send us tickets,
Yeah, yes, right. Yeah, that's
uh,
exactly right.
yeah, but good support, there's, of course, a lot of good stuff here in the States, young bands, but there's so many of them,
It's
I
wonderful. It's wonderful.
excuse me, I wouldn't even know where to start on that, but yeah, and I'm really happy that we part of that a little bit.
Yeah.
Are we coming out, all we old guys coming out with a record where younger people go, wow, this is absolutely kicked my ass. Thank you, and so I'm happy about that,
Well, you know what? There's an old saying. There's a lot of often a good tune played on an old fiddle, right? As my dad would say. It doesn't matter about the age, man.
That's
It does.
correct. So
It doesn't matter.
it's only as old as you feel. I mean, honestly, sometimes I feel like I'm 110
Yeah,
waking up in
yeah,
the morning, going to work,
yeah.
but
Yes.
yeah.
Ah. But when you're on that
But
stage, though, 16, right?
I mean, I'm on stage, man. I'm invincible, man. I'm running circles around any 20-year-old. It's just after the show,
Yes,
then
we don't
when
admit
every
to that, Hansi. We don't admit to it. Shh,
no,
we
no,
don't
no, no,
admit to it.
no, it's okay. Yeah, nothing happens.
Nothing.
I'm like Superman.
My problem is my neck. Like I when I'm at gigs, I don't like. I want to be at the front. I want to be at the barrier, and I don't want to be standing at the back. My arms crossed, nodding away. So I get in, and I'm with the 18, 19-year-olds, and I'm a flurry of hair. Right, it's all you're seeing from me all night.
Yeah,
The next day, it's like, oh, I'm gonna get the deep heat out, man. My neck. But I look back and I go, wow, it was worth it. There's
yes,
never once I've gone, why did I do that? I always go, yeah, that's right.
yeah. I still love the headbang, not as much as I used to because of these reasons you just mentioned.
Yeah.
Uh, My wife, on the other hand, is headbanging Betty, man. She just like her hair is just flying to the whole show.
I love
I
it.
don't know, but yeah, but I'm not. I used to be in the pit. I'm
Yeah.
not in the pit anymore. I especially don't like that whole karate bullshit that's going on.
Oh,
Now,
not for me, man.
let me tell you a quick little story here. I was at a
Yeah.
Cannibal Corpse show here in town
Oh,
a few
yes.
years ago. And it was Cannibal Corpse, and I think it was it's actually quite 4 or 5 years ago. And
Yeah.
really good friends of mine opened Black Dahlia Murder. I was really good friends with Trevor.
Oh, lovely. Yeah.
Rest in peace, brother.
Mm.
Really good friends with him, and even we used to text, all the time, even Christmas, all kinds of. So we were there, and of course, we were backstage hanging out with those guys, and he's like, "Hey, there's Cannibal coming headliner. Let's go watch them." So I went to the bar, and I stood in line, for like 30 minutes. This place was packed.
Mm.
It was completely sold out. So I got like 2 beers. They were $9 a piece, and so I stood there with my 2 beers, and I was walking down the stairs, not into the pit, but where the tables are. And one of these kids came jumping out of the crowd and kicked both beers out of my hands in the same time. I was wearing them, right? And I was, he just kind of looked at me and ran right back in the pit. And I was like, oh, hell no. So I waited a minute, and then I was looking for him, and I was like, okay, I'm going to grab this guy. So I went over there and I grabbed him and I said, come here. I said, you owe me 2 beers. He goes, oh, sorry, man. I'm only 19. And I said, then you owe me $20. And he was like, well, I don't have any money. And I said, I don't care. Go get some money from your friends. You owe me 2 beers. So he actually went and got $20 from one of his friends.
Good on him.
And I teach this little guy a lesson. It's like, if
Man.
you want to behave like a punk, you're going to get treated like a punk. You know what I mean?
Oh,
So
mate.
I had to, I bought another 2 beers, and I had to wait in line again another 30 minutes or so to get that. But, anyway, I'm not a fan of that. And I have seen
No.
people do this. at our shows where some of the younger crowd, or we have played with bands, they're more of a hardcore metal or
Mm.
whatever. And they're doing it when girls are in the pit.
Oh no,
Yeah.
yes, I've had that.
So I
I've
have
pulled
stopped.
girls out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I have stopped a show, like not in the middle of song, but
yeah,
like before we go on to the next song, I'll be like, hey, listen, don't behave like a douche, be respectful. We all want to have a good time, and if I see you kicking any girls, we're gonna have a talk with you after the show.
yeah, yeah,
Actually,
yeah. Good.
that takes care of it usually.
Yeah.
And
Oh, see
yeah,
it all, man.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man, this is I'm pretty vocal, when it
Good.
comes to like even in our scene when people say certain things, and I will call them out. I will tell them they're full of shit.
Yeah.
And it's probably why we've not playing a lot of shows.
Do you know what? Then stuff them is what I say, because tell the truth.
Yeah,
Um,
I
I,
mean, I'm not. I can't. I'm that person where if I know you're a bullshitter, I know you pulling shit out of your ass, or you say one thing to a person and you say another thing to another person, and I know that I was a witness that I will let you know. I will
yeah,
let
yeah,
you know all shit. You know what I mean? And I don't care who you are. I don't care how big you are or how scary you are. I will let you know.
yeah.
And a lot of people always tell me, "Oh man, I love this about you. You're so honest. Absolutely love it." But then they don't talk to me anymore afterwards. So and that's okay.
You got to break eggs to
I'm
make an
okay.
omelette, mate. You got to break eggs to make an omelette.
Exactly. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, so what, man? That's the scene, but that's because that's what metal's about, though. It's because it's community based. You don't want the
Exactly.
community. You don't want a community sullied by idiots like that. It's just the
Exactly.
way it is, right? I look.
Yeah.
Little side note: one of the worst gigs I ever went to was a Cannibal Corpse gig. I
Hmm.
literally, I had to leave. I was about four track songs in, and I don't think they were having a good time. They weren't. They weren't there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It felt they phoned it in. I turned to my mate and was like, "I'm going," and I don't remember even seeing the whole
Yeah.
show through.
Yeah.
I was
No,
just
no, no. You're right. You're absolutely right. I just watched them not too long ago with Meshuggah,
mm,
and I never seen Meshuggah before. I'm not a huge fan of Meshuggah, but
no, yeah,
my wife wanted to see them, and I said, yeah, why not? And I kind of like him from
mm.
some of their older records. Let's check them out. They're supposed to be really good live. And what's nothing else to do. And Cannibal Corpse was on that same bill. Oh no, wait, I think Carcass was on that bill too.
Oh yes,
The reason, let me change that. That was the reason why we went, is because of Carcass. They should
good,
have headlined, by the way.
yeah.
They only played a 30-minute set.
Oh
What was
yeah,
very sad.
yeah.
But I remember the Corpse was the second band. They weren't headlining. It was Meshuggah was headlining, and Cannibal Corpse played, and it was boring. It
Oh
was
God,
absolutely boring. Every song sounded the same. I
yep.
couldn't make out what they were playing. I actually went. I watched like two songs. Then I got a beer, went to the smoking area, and I listened to them outside. And they actually sounded a little bit better outside than they did inside. But it was still kind of like you said, they were not there. They were phoning in. They
Yeah,
were absolutely like lackluster. They were
yeah.
kind of like, nah, listen to the show here in Idaho. And it was boring.
Yep,
You
it was
know.
boring when I saw them. It was so tedious, and I was so excited because they're one of those bands I wanted to tick off. In the extreme calendar, this tick off Cannibal Corpse, because they're one of those bands that you
Yeah.
just like everything. You always got to see try and see those, and I sort of went, yeah, I
Yeah.
think I'm leaving, and I honestly didn't feel bad about it either. I was
Nope.
just like, I'm
We
going.
actually we watched Meshuggah for a few songs and then we left. Because there was also, just like some of the people they bring out that's
Yeah,
not really a metal crowd anymore. It's like everybody wants to go for the shock factor. And
yes.
it brings out a lot of people that I don't care for.
I felt the
You know,
same
so,
thing. Yeah, I felt the same when I went and saw. Oh my God, I can't remember the name of the band now, but they're so technical that we went to see them, and it was like they had no personality. It was like I might as well put the CD on, right?
Yeah.
Mastodon it was. I was
Oh,
like,
not a fan.
no, and I was like, oh, could you move around a bit? Like
Yeah.
they just stood
I
there.
hate that most when the band is not connected to the audience. When the announce your damn song. Not everybody knows your songs. At
Oh,
least,
thank you.
you
Yes.
right? At least say like, hey, this next song, is from this and this record, and it's named blah blah blah, and then play your
Yeah.
song. Just stop playing a song, or like and I get it. You have a certain amount of time, and you want to get as much in there as you can, but not everybody knows your shit, man. And it's like, that's what always got me. That's why at least, when we play, I want to at least name the song and say, hey, this is,
Yeah.
the title track of a record that you can buy over there at the merch table, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah.
Yeah. Exactly. Right. There's
And
nothing wrong with
let
that.
people know, let
Yeah.
people know you appreciate they're there. I
Yeah.
always do that. I let people know when they're there. I'm like, hey, and I appreciate you guys coming out supporting us, and I hope you're having a good time. And I want people to understand that, we're doing this for them,
Yes.
not just us. We're doing it, of course, for ourselves, but we also doing it mostly for the people that love the music and for the fans, because without the people that buy our crap, man, we not even a band. We nobody.
What
You know what I
exactly? Why
mean?
would you do it for that? That's the point, isn't it? Yeah.
Here, I gotta go in on something real quick. I'm
Oh,
sorry,
yeah.
man,
That's
but
all right.
these meet and greets, okay, really
Oh,
pisses me. Uh, my good friend Tom Angel Ripper said it
yeah.
best. He's like, I'm not gonna ever charge anyone for a meet and greet. You're gonna meet me after the show. I'm gonna sit there, have a beer with you. You can come and I will sign you grandma. I don't care. No, bring
Yes.
whatever you want. Bring whatever you
Oh,
want to have signed. I'll have a conversation with you. Just be respectful. Don't be jumping me with 10 people at once.
mm,
But I always found that so. You know, I'm a huge Wasp fan.
yeah.
Wasp is one of my favorite bands of all time. And uh, I've been to a few of their recent shows. My wife was
Mm,
going to buy me a meet and greet with Blackie.
yeah. Bloody
But
expensive.
very expensive, but they were sold out at the venue we were at, and I'm kind of glad they were, because I didn't know she was going to do it. And she said, I was going to get you that meet and greet, but they were already all gone by the time. And I said, good. I said, I don't need to meet Blackie. I met Blackie in the 80s, and I could take it or leave it.
Yeah.
He's all right, but ask him a question and then get something signed. It's like, I don't care.
Yeah.
I just here to see the band. So this is why I will always make an extra effort. Like after the show, when we play the show, and there's a lot of people there for us, and that has
Mm,
happened,
mm.
where we have played in front of a few hundred people, and they would come up after the show and say, I'm at the bar, and they're like, hey, man, great show. I got this CD. Would you sign this for me? And I'm like, absolutely. I said, you want to take a
Yes.
picture? Here, let me get your phone. Here, my wife is there. Take a picture of the two of us,
Oh,
and
cool.
I always make sure we take all of the whole band. We always make sure we take time.
Of course not.
Like,
Hey, now I have to wrap up soon because I have to get to another thing. But thank you for coming on chatting. It's been I could
absolutely,
talk all day, man. I could talk all day.
yes,
This
yeah.
is just you are just the most enjoyable person to talk to.
Well, Tony, I feel the same way about you, man. We definitely from the same piece of wood, man, carved
I
it.
I think so, man. I think it's just a real pleasure, real pleasure. And I encourage all my listeners, and I'm gonna if they get if I put the video up and also listen to this, yes, this is um Blackened Skies, Open Graves, brilliant album. Mine's number 14, by the way.
You have a very low number, actually.
Yes,
There,
I'm
there.
very excited by that fact. But
No,
yeah, please do listen to it on all good streaming platforms. Go to Bandcamp. I'll put the link in the notes. Buy the merch, and if you're in the Boise, Idaho area, don't miss the band. Okay.
thank you very much.
All right. because you'll regret it. I'm telling you now.
Yeah.
I'm a bit envious personally.
All right. It was good to
But
talk to you, man.
you too, man. Thanks for coming on.
Absolutely.
I'll talk to you
Thank
soon.
you. Thank you for having me on. All
Oh, it
right.
was a pleasure, man. Always a pleasure. Hopefully we'll get to see each other one day. You never know, right?
That would be awesome, man. Stay heavy, man.
You stay heavy too. All right, man.
All right.
Bye, mate.